small.
Boy, it is 7 o'clock. It's nice to see everybody here in the chambers in the happy conversation. We just got out of our 5 o'clock committee of the whole meeting, so there we go. No, everybody's here. Super. So, I want to welcome everybody to the chambers here in City Hall this evening. It's nice to see everybody, and it's nice to see my colleagues again after our 5 o'clock meeting ended about 10 minutes ago. So at this point, I am going to call the Kalamazoo City Commission meeting to order for Monday, March 2nd, 2026. And our first order of business is roll call. Clerk Borley.
Commissioner Hess.
Present.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Present.
Commissioner Pradle.
Present.
Commissioner Slaby.
Present.
Commissioner Wilson.
Present.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Here.
Mayor Anderson.
Here. Thank you, Clerk Borling. We are blessed for our opening ceremony this evening to have Sister Patricia Warbritton from the Congregation of St. Joseph here to provide an invocation. And as she comes forward, I'm going to ask everybody in the chambers to please stand for the invocation and then remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you.
Master of life, Great Spirit, as a Potawatomi address you, hold these men and women and all who work with them closely as they seek to serve all people equitably within this beautiful, gifted city. They serve all that lives and have accepted responsibility for this portion of the earth. Guide them in best practices, grant them wisdom and understanding with listening hearts. Support them as they strive to hold fast to the values of our democracy and serve the common good. Provide all they need so that through them, Kalamazoo may continue to be a river of life-giving water. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you again, Sister. Appreciate you having you here. We are now down to the adoption of the formal agenda. Commissioners, are there any items that are on the consent agenda, G, that you would like to have moved to H, the regular agenda? All right, seeing none. Any other changes to the formal agenda? Manager Hankins.
Mayor, I would just ask that agenda item H3 be removed from tonight's agenda.
Okay. Item H3 will be removed from tonight's regular agenda. Manager Hankins, the agenda stands. Any communications from you at this point?
Not at this time.
All right, thank you so much. Now is the opportunity for public comments at our business meeting. Just a reminder that you can comment on any item of your choosing at this time, including agenda items or not agenda items. You'll have 4 minutes. Please come forward, state your name and whether you live in the city.
My name is Jim Hess, and I am a resident of the city. For 35 years, I used to go to Commissioner Hess's workplace at Kalamazoo College 2 to 3 times a week between August and November during volleyball season. I would sometimes voice my opinion loudly if the officials involved ruled against the volleyball Hornets, for which she was the coach. I promise not to raise my voice to any officials tonight unless you have a striped shirt on. That's the only ones I ever yelled at. My reason for being here this evening is to express my gratitude to Assistant Chief for Public Safety Victor Green and Mayor Anderson. They took their time and recently spoke to my mentoring program I have, Breakfast of Champions. It's a very diverse group of young men from Kalamazoo Public Schools. We meet at Kalamazoo College for breakfast, and we have speakers from throughout the community and the state to share with the young men what it takes to be a champion in life. What Assistant Chief Green shared about his role, what the public safety's role is in the community, and most importantly, what he shared with the boys when they see a public safety officer is to look at more than the badge and to see that they are also husbands, fathers, but most importantly, they are their friends. Mayor Anderson shared with the group his life story, which is extremely interesting, and how to get from one thing to the next. And he also explained how city government works and how it serves our community. Both the mayor and the assistant chief were enthusiastic, fully engaged, and gave to the boys their most valuable asset, their time. And he clearly made a difference because the comment on the way back to school was both for Chief Green and Mayor Anderson is they're cool guys. And Winston Churchill once said, a pessimist sees the difficulty in every opportunity, and an optimist sees the opportunity in every difficulty. Chief Green and Mayor Anderson let their optimism for our youth and what they could become, it just simply shined through those days when they came to speak to our group. It's also been said that true faith is the ability to believe in what you can't see, and your reward is to see the things you believe in. And what I'd like to thank all of you on the dais is to thank you for believing in Kalamazoo. And again, Mayor Anderson and Chief Green, thank you so much and the difference you made for these young men. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Edward Nickerson. I live in the city of Kalamazoo. A little over a month ago, I called the mayor's office. The person that answered the phone said, "This is 211, what's your mental problem?" She asked me why I didn't send you an email. I told her because of my disability. All she did was criticize me. I really don't appreciate that. It's unnecessary. These people keep on breaking into my car and law enforcement can't seem to catch them. I guess they're trying to steal my car. They never succeed. So I'm putting low-level explosives in the car so when they get in it to steal it, they'll end up in the hospital. I could say a lot of other things, but I'm pretty upset right now, so I'll just let it go right now.
Thank you. Next, please.
My name is Joel Snyder. I am the director of the Celebris Ensemble, C-E-L-E-B-R-I-S. And I am not a resident of Kalamazoo. I am a resident of Comstock. I'm here because I wrote a song about Kalamazoo. And I sent an email to you all, and you asked if I could play it for you here. It's also co-written by my wonderful co-writer, Jane Kozhevnikova. We are both graduates of Western Michigan University. It's called My Heart's in Kalamazoo. It's a blues song. Let's see here. And I'll try to play it through the microphone. I'll do my best.
Thank you. Maybe we need more of that during our public comment time. Next, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. My name is Rachel Thompson. I am a resident of the city, and I live on Grand Prairie Road. I'm here regarding the recent water main break and road closure. While the road has now been repaired and vehicles are no longer driving through our yards, significant damage was done before it was fixed. Drivers traveled more than 40 feet into my yard to get around the road closure. I measured it myself, and this was not minor edge damage. Vehicles drove deep into our property. I also found a sewer line utility flag that had been driven over. Our neighborhood has older clay sewer pipes, which are vulnerable to cracking under weight and vibration. My concern is just not what we can see, it is what may have happened underground. Clay pipes can fail months or even years after being compromised. If that happens, homeowners are left with costly sewer repairs through no fault of our own. I also want to highlight something that could have helped prevent this. At Drake and Grand Prairie, a barricade was knocked down and left lying on the ground from Friday night, February 20th, until repairs were completed February 24th. Multiple calls were made to the non-emergency police line. To our knowledge, city police did not respond, and the barricade was never placed upright. Township police did respond, but they did not cross onto the city side of the barricade to reset it. For several days, there was effectively nothing preventing drivers from entering the closed roadway and cutting through our private property. This was not just simply reckless drivers, this was a traffic control failure that was allowed to continue. My concern is not only for our property, but for my neighbors' properties as well. Several yards were driven through, and we all share the same aging underground infrastructure. So I'm asking for some specific requests, that the city send qualified personnel to assess potential underground sewer damage in the impacted yards, that residents receive clear guidance on how to identify or report sewer compromise, and that future road closures include active monitoring so barricades are not left down for days at a time. The road may be repaired, but the impact may not be. I expect the city to stand behind its infrastructure work and ensure residents are not left with hidden damage and costs. I have left my phone number with the city clerk, and I would appreciate a follow-up and clear point of contact. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening. I am honored to be able to stand before you today. I am Elizabeth Odell, president of the Kalamazoo Alumni Chapter, but I am not a resident. I wish to thank Mayor Anderson for his recent participation in our Saturday workshop on economic development for Black businesses. We, the women of Kalamazoo Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority, stand before you because of this statement I'm going to read. Of all forms of inequity, injustice in healthcare is the most shocking and inhumane. Today, we face a national mental health crisis, but the burden is not shared equally. For marginalized communities, mental health isn't just a personal struggle. It's a policy failure. True equality requires us to move beyond individual treatment and address the systematic roots of well-being. I wish to introduce to you now our Chair of Gloria Foster Wimbley, our Chair of Social Action, Shora Wimbley.
Good evening, Commissioners. I just wanted to state to you all.
Excuse me just a second. Do you want to start the time over, clerk? Don't want to get cut off there.
I'm going to be short.
Okay.
Trust. So as I was saying, I wanted to let you know that I did send a letter to Mayor Anderson in regards to a request. He was gracious enough to be at an economic development program that we had this weekend but also we're looking to gather some information around health equity and how it pertains to city policy and outreach that the city provides. So I asked some questions and would like a written response we would like a written response by March 31st. We're going to use this information to take to the state, where we as a collective state chapters will be discussing this important issue. And of course, it impacts the whole state and the nation. So I wanted to thank you again for considering that, and I hope to grace you some other times. It's good to see Mr. Pradle. Mr. Pradle was one of my students when I was the principal at Hillside Middle School so many years ago. Ms. Hess, her children went through my building as well. And so it's wonderful to be here and be able to see all my folks who look all grown up and doing the work. I appreciate it. Oh, thank you.
Oh, come on, we gotta have our moment to pause.
We're ready.
Don't love pictures. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, please.
Good evening. My name is Rachel Vinales. I'm not a resident of the city of Kalamazoo. I am a resident of the township of Kalamazoo. But importantly, I went to school in the city of Kalamazoo. I work in the city of Kalamazoo at Kalamazoo County Defender, Inc. And I'm running for 8th District Court Judge in Kalamazoo County, which covers all of which includes Kalamazoo County, or Kalamazoo County is completely within that district. I love coming to these meetings. I think that it's so evident from these meetings how passionate people in the city of Kalamazoo are about local government and about making a difference in our community. And that's exactly the reason why I'm running for district court judge. It's inspiring to be up here. I know that Ms. Foster Wimbley left, but I think I was a student of hers as well. And so just seeing the ongoing impact that people are having on our community, giving back and caring about important issues like inequities in healthcare, but also inequities in all other parts of our daily life. That's something that I have seen firsthand in my work as a public defender over the last 13 years. And it's something that I think would be a unique aspect of my career that I would bring to the bench if elected to 8th District Court Judge. I've seen firsthand how housing instability, food instability, joblessness, as well as mental health and addiction can wreak havoc on someone's lives and put them on a course towards something that they don't want to be involved with. And I think the district court is very important for being a point of first intervention, recognizing the things that bring people into the legal system and trying to help them get back on the right track so that they can be thriving and productive members of our society and in Kalamazoo, the Kalamazoo community. So I'm sure you guys will see me here a lot more over the next 8 months, and so I apologize for that in advance, but I'm looking forward to having more and more conversations with other people in this community about what's important to them and how they see our courts as being a vital part of our community in making a difference here in Kalamazoo County. I can be found online at votevinales.com. That's vote, VINALES.com. I'm on Facebook and Instagram. I'm happy to meet with anyone here and talk about my plans to be the next great 8th District Court Judge in Kalamazoo County. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm back. So I am here again to talk about the intersection at Merrill and Howard and the Safe Routes to School project. Over the last couple weeks since the last meeting when this was on the agenda, I've done a lot of research and a lot of thinking. And so I have brought some information, a little frustration, and an ask. Ta-da! I have a picture of it. So this image is what we're talking about. The two sets of yellow arrows are the two crossings in question. The red arrows show the use path, which is something Commissioner Pradle was asking about, where most of the kids walk to school, especially when it's not snowy. The yellow star is the entrance to the school. And you can also see that the proposed crossing is about 900 feet closer to the top of the hill than the existing crossing. So here's the data. We have 25 kids trying to cross 66 feet of 4 lanes of traffic with in excess of 13,000 cars a day going approximately 40 miles an hour down a hill. 25 kids, 4 lanes of traffic, 13,000 cars going 40 miles an hour. That is the problem we are trying to solve. The safest solution is a signal that stops the cars, which is shown in every available plan from the city for this intersection, the Safe Routes to School report, and on the funding acceptance motion that you guys did last fall, a signal at Merrill and Howard. So I walked the proposed new route. 10 loaded school buses have to leave through the driveway adjacent to that crossing at the same time that kids are trying to get home from school. Those buses completely obscure any line of sight for drivers and cars of the kids trying to get across the crosswalk. And there's actually not a space for an island there because it has exactly the same geometry as the existing crossing where cars from Howard are turning left to get into the parking lot. So you can't physically put an island there to fix that solution of having a safe refuge. Neighborhood parents have been trying to fix this crossing since at least 2012. I started in 2019 when the Safe Routes program started. Every year I emailed city staff and called city staff multiple times and almost got no response, which was kind of frustrating. And this week I learned that there's a 30-page report outlining an extensive outreach done by the city during the exact same time period to Winchell concerning safe routes to school. Mailers, door hangers, yard signs, community meetings, and I can't get an email answered. And then that led me to really ponder Winchell's sidewalk. And when I thought of it, something came to me. What's at the end of Winchell where it dead ends into Oakland? I mean, you've all driven there probably. What's at that intersection? It's the same exact type of intersection as where Merrill meets Howard. It's a signal that stops traffic so people can cross. So for over 10 years, we've been asking for the same thing that Winchell already has. They've had it for over 20 years. And that tells me that my neighborhood is worth less than Winchell, that my kids' lives are worth less than the kids in other neighborhoods. So my ask is like, please come alongside us and help us find the right, safest solution, which is that the traffic stops so the kids can cross. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello, my name is Austin Shannon, and on September 18th, 2019, I was almost killed crossing Howard Street near Merrill. 2 cars had already stopped at the crosswalk, waiting for middle schoolers to cross the road. A third driver came down the hill, wasn't paying attention, and that driver, trying to stop, veered and hit the other car, but hopped the curve and hit the tree that I was standing right behind, and I honestly thought that it was going to kill me. Police cited the driver failure to stop within the assured clear distance ahead. The reason is simple: speed. Drivers were going too fast to simply stop on that hill. Now I understand the city is considering moving the crosswalk higher up the hill, closer to where vehicles are traveling at their fastest speeds. I respectfully ask that you reconsider. If a driver can simply stop at the bottom of the hill where vehicles should be slowing down, how will drivers stop higher up, where they're still accelerating and traveling at their peak speed? I'm not speaking from any hypotheticals, I'm speaking from experience. I'm so lucky to be alive, the next kid may not be.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, my name is Stephanie Neighbors. On September 18th, 2019, my son and my mother were nearly hit on Howard. They were only safe because a tree blocked the car from hitting them. The crash was serious enough that WWMT Channel 3 News interviewed us the next day. It's still online if you'd like to watch it. Howard Street is a steep downhill. Vehicles come down that hill very, very quickly. And drivers have less time and distance to see and process and respond to a crossing mid-block. That reaction window becomes even smaller in the dark, in the rain, in the winter conditions, especially when students are walking in the morning in the dark. Moving the crosswalk up the hill places pedestrians in a section of roadway where drivers are already descending and must react quickly on a slope. Relocating the crosswalk does not address safety concerns. It shifts students in an area where stopping distance and visibility are more challenging. Please consider strengthening the safety at the current location with a pedestrian-activated signal rather than moving the crossing uphill. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello, everybody. Again, my name is Tina. I've been coming here for 8 years. I live on Lake Street in the lovely floodplain area. But first, I want to hit on this topic. Howard Hill, if you put a crosswalk on that hill, how are they going to stop in the snow when you're sliding? Do you know how many cars go up that hill and slow down or start to slide, and everybody else has got to stop? You have another lane where you can slide into to where you won't hit that car and you don't have to all slide down. If you make Howard Hill 2 lanes, one up and one down, you're going to kill a lot of people. And you can't put that crosswalk up there by that school. That is a dangerous, dangerous spot. You need to leave it where it's at, but you need to, I agree, put lighting, put street lights. I know it's a block from a street light, but we stop at them all 3 minutes anyway. So what's the difference? Traffic backs up everywhere, but at least it'll save a child's life. But if you change Howard Hill from 2 lanes to 1 lane each, you're gonna cause a lot of accidents. Now, on to my problem. It's gonna flood, and it's wintertime, and the ground's frozen. You took away 12 acres to build in my neighborhood. That caused the flooding in 2017, and it hasn't gotten any better. It's only gonna get worse. We're gonna rain for 3 days. What are you gonna do for us? Put road closed signs out so we're trapped in our houses even more? You even trapped the police station. You don't care. You need to start caring. If we were a different neighborhood, if we were a wealthier neighborhood, this problem would have been fixed 8 years ago. At 64 years old, I wouldn't have to keep coming up here 2 times a month to speak on the same issues. Your storm drains are not working in my neighborhood. They are failing the neighborhood. It is the city's job to provide clean drinking water. We should all have dry streets. Why is my neighborhood the only neighborhood that doesn't have dry streets in Kalamazoo? We have to pack up and leave, or try to figure out how to get out of your house, hope what damage it does. Wintertime, it's gonna take out your furnace. How would you like to live in the winter without a furnace? How would you like to be in your house, and if there's an emergency, you can't even get out because there's water on both ends and all over the whole neighborhood? It's because your storm drains are not working. It's the city's job to have proper working storm drains. Nobody should have to deal with this. I shouldn't have to come up here and beg for 8 years for you guys to do your job, to fix something that needs fixed. We didn't need no damn arena. We don't need all these breweries. We don't need all these pot shops. People, residents in the city of Kalamazoo should not be dealing with flooding coming up through their storm drains. And your storm drains comes up through our basements. One day it's gonna take out my fuse box. You don't care, I know you don't, because you haven't did anything. All you wanna do is keep building in my neighborhood. The more you build without fixing these problems, the worse it gets for your poorer residents. And I shouldn't have to keep doing this. This is just getting to be, it's tiring. I know you're tired of looking at me. I'm tired of coming up here asking you over and over since December 18th of 2017, and your storm drains still don't work. They've never been cleaned. They've never been fixed. They could be made deeper. No other neighborhood, every other neighborhood can enjoy the rain. We can't. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening. My name is Susan Bennett, and I am a lifelong resident of Kalamazoo and a 30-year resident of the Vine neighborhood. I'm here to speak on the proposed change for the pedestrian crossing at Merrill and Howard. I have walked the Vine neighborhood for those 30 years. Very dangerous crossing. My son was a student at Maple Street. He had to cross at the bottom of that hill. The proposal to move it up the hill, I feel, is not keeping in with the intention of safe routes to school. The whole grant is safe routes to school. The safest way to get kids across that road is by putting a stoplight, pedestrian-activated stoplight at that intersection, period. That is going to allow students and all pedestrians to cross that road safely. There's no other way to do it. A pedestrian-operated stoplight that turns red, brings the traffic to a stop, and allows the pedestrians to cross. The lights and signage and pedestrian crossing that is there now is a step in the right direction. That wasn't there when my son attended school. It's a step in the right direction, but it is wholly inadequate. Some of the flashing blinker lights are actually blocked by the pedestrian crossing sign and a power pole. Drivers do not see those white flashing lights, and it is not an immediate message to them that they need to stop. Red means stop. There needs to be a red stoplight. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is David Wilson. I'm a resident of Kalamazoo, a parent of 3 children who use that intersection. 2014, we moved here, 3 small kids, 1 was a newborn. We've lived in the Vine the whole time. We quickly learned that the perception was our neighborhood was a rental neighborhood and that we probably shouldn't expect a lot from this city. I know several of the people sitting up there, and that's not your character, at least not that I know. So I hope that that's not how we continue to feel. When my oldest started middle school, I decided, okay, since it's such a dangerous place, I'm going to start being a crossing guard. So I went out with a reflective vest, I got on a hat, and I grabbed an umbrella. I am 6'4". I am not little. Cars would not stop for me. Cars would not stop for me. So I got bike lights, and I covered myself in bike lights, and I became a flashing crossing guard. Cars would not stop for me. One morning in 2022, cars seemed like we're finally stopping. We're finally stopping, right? We enter the first lane of traffic, we enter the second lane of traffic. I got a line of kids behind me because they just want to cross the road. We get to that third row of traffic, coming down the hill, no problem. My kids started to get ahead of me for that fourth lane, just about creamed. Why? Because only 3 lanes stopped, and the fourth lane kept going. Because I am a visible and walker in that neighborhood, I would encounter people that I saw drive through crosswalks. Because I am not afraid of confrontation, I would approach them. And I would say, are you aware of what you did this morning? Are you aware that you almost hit my child? Are you aware that you drove through my crosswalk? And they would say, I was terrified the cars behind me wouldn't stop. The only thing I can think of for why we don't have a pedestrian-controlled crosswalk there is because it would inconvenience drivers. I don't care. Our kids are what matters. Another dad knew I was doing this. He came out there, and we were doing it every morning. And it got to a point where it was starting to cause more stress for the kids because we were insisting that they not cross until all the cars had stopped. And they wanted to just run because to them, that was less stressful. When y'all approved that funding, it was for a push-button stop cars. I don't see that right now. If you want to move that crosswalk up the street, that's where the buses are coming out. And that is busy. I urge you, come check this out. That is a production that happens at the end of the school day on Maple. That is a production. Buses are coming out, kids are going every which way, and now you want the crossing to be right there amongst the buses, amongst all that. That just, it doesn't make me feel like anyone has been there and looked at this. Come to my neighborhood, please. I'd like to have you there. My daughter is here. She wants to talk about some of the things that she saw. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
My name is Zanaya Wilson, and I used to go to Maple Street Middle School, and when I went, it was bad. The amount of times I've almost seen kids actually just get fully wiped out was pretty insane. It's even worse in the morning than it is after school. Cars just don't stop. They're trying to get to work. They're trying to get their kids to school. They don't really care about the other kids crossing the street. And me and my friends, at one point, we really just didn't want to cross the street because of the amount of times it was very close where my friend almost got hit. They had to stop very quickly, but it was very close and it was very scary for both of us. And I have 2 younger siblings, and middle school isn't supposed to be afraid of a crosswalk. There's so many other things that you could be afraid of, but hearing my siblings come home saying I almost got hit by a car is not what anyone wants to hear. And moving that crosswalk up to the area that you want to move it to makes it extremely more dangerous. Even if it's not winter, even if it's not raining, cars do not stop up there. They keep going. I've witnessed kids literally get swiped by the car, even up there, because they didn't want to go down to the original crosswalk because cars were still going super fast on there. They walked up and they almost died. They literally got swiped. Moving it up there is a terrible idea. And I think if you want to make it better, take the flashing lights away. Nobody listens to those. Nobody cares about those. They care about things actually telling them what to do, green to go, red to stop. Make it so when someone pushes a button, either a red light shows up or a red person shows up, and they can just walk without worrying about cars not stopping. That's what you should do, because kids mainly are using that crosswalk, and kids shouldn't be afraid literally just to go to school. They shouldn't be afraid of if they will even make it to school or make it home after school, which when I was in school, that's what most kids were worried about. They weren't worried about being bullied. They weren't worried about not making the team. After school, a bunch of kids literally huddled at the end of the street to cross the road and just stood there. Nobody moved because they were so terrified to cross the street. They were so terrified to move because they were scared of getting hit. And when somebody did go, at least maybe one car slowed down. Nobody ever really stopped. They slowed down enough not to hit us, but they kept driving right after we crossed them. And it was bad. That's in 6th grade, that was the one thing I was most scared of. I've been hit by a car. It's not pleasant. I don't want that for my siblings. I don't want that for my siblings' friends. I don't want that for my friends' little siblings. I would like them not to worry about starting 6th grade and being hit by a car.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello. Good evening. I'm Tracy Lowy. I'm a resident of Kalamazoo. Liz Healy and Holly Smith of Portage. We won't hold it against them, though, right? I'm honored to introduce to you the Chubby Mermaids. We are a grassroots organization that began not as a formal nonprofit, but as just 4 friends with a bold idea. In 21, 4 local women decided to form a relay team to take on the Mackinac Island swim, and we needed a team name. Being middle-aged women who are a little extra padding, the Chubby Mermaids was formed. What started as a personal challenge quickly became something much bigger. As we trained together, other friends were inspired to join us, drawn not just by the swim itself, but the camaraderie, the encouragement, and the fearless spirit that the team embodied. At every event we attended, we stood out, not because we don't fit the traditional image of endurance athletes, but because of our infectious positivity. We have a bold team presence and unwavering support for one another. We showed up in bright colors, cheered the loudest, celebrated every finish, and made space for women and men who had never seen themselves represented in endurance sports before. Through regular social media posts, we shared our training journeys, our struggles, victories, humor, and real-life balance of work, family, and fitness. Our authenticity resonated, and followers grew. Messages poured in from women who felt seen for the first time. What began as 4 friends training for a relay evolved into a movement centered on confidence, inclusion, and redefining what an athlete looks like. As interest expanded, it became clear that this mission was bigger than a single swim. We made the intentional decision to form a 501c3 nonprofit, and our mission is simple but powerful. It is to create a judgment-free zone where women feel comfortable and confident engaging in physical fitness, increasing self-acceptance, and growing personally and socially. The Chubby Mermaids host regular swim groups at local lakes here in town and also on the coast, training programs and events that remove common barriers to participation by providing access to gear, training materials, and scholarships as needed. But we're about more than just fitness. We're about building a supportive tribe of sisters who celebrate progress, motivate one another, and redefine what athleticism looks like in our community. We've also become ambassadors for Kalamazoo beyond our city limits. In addition to doing the Mackinac Island swim every year, members have completed other challenging endurance swims, including the Mackinac Bridge Swim, Swim to the Moon, the 5 Great Lakes Challenge, where we swim in all 5 Great Lakes in 24 hours. And we recently participated as part of the relay team in the historic Edmund Fitzgerald Memorial Swim, bringing positive visibility to local athletes while honoring Great Lakes maritime history. Importantly, the Chubby Mermaids practice community engagement and philanthropy, choosing charities to support throughout the year and helping fundraise for causes tied to our mission and statewide interests. To date, we've raised over $70,000, and benefactors have included first responders, local food banks like Loaves and Fishes, women's cancer resources, and assisting low-income women in covering the cost of equipment and entry fees to make it accessible for all. In short, this group strengthens community health, uplifts women, and showcases Kalamazoo's spirit of inclusion and perseverance. And if you want to find out more about us, thechubbymermaids.com is our website, and we welcome anyone to join us. Men can come too, we have a few. Our husbands we call the Chubby Hubbies, and they come out and support us as well. Thank you so much for this opportunity to share our story.
And I also want to shout out to Chris Friedel, because you were my son's big brother almost 20 years ago in the Big Brother program.
Oh, yay.
And he's doing great, by the way.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Mike Stout. I'm the president and founder of Michigan Waterway Stewards. I'm not a Kalamazoo resident. We are Michigan's largest Michigan Waterway Stewards organization. We go across the state cleaning up rivers and riverside parks and whatnot, river trails. We began our journey in Kalamazoo 3 years ago, where we had a huge event in the spring. And since then, we've held, this will be our 5th twice-yearly event and 12th event in the last 3 years. We have an event coming up here on March 28th, Saturday. The headquarters will be at the Mayor's Riverfront Front. We'll be cleaning the river trail from Comstock to Parchment and eradicating invasive species along Mayor's Riverfront, near Red Arrow Golf Course, and also Burdick Park. I want to thank the community, the city, the county for the generous support since our start 3 years ago. We've been blessed with the support of civic and social organizations, city and county governments, local businesses, churches and schools, and in particular, Western Michigan University students. So we have a huge plan for March 28th. We've already begun discussions for fall of this year, which we hope will include all 3 campuses to showcase the best of our young students and showcase the best of Kalamazoo. I'd also like to thank Patrick McVeary, Director of Parks and Recreation, and also Justin Gish for their expert resources and support. So I ask you on March 28th, come on out, join us on a great community event. The Lansing Lugnuts will be providing hospitality, hot dogs and brats and cookies and soda. This will be a great day. The weather's warming up. It should be in the 50s and 60s, so it'll be a nice time to get outdoors and create some impact. So just want to say thank you for, again, the support. You got a great community. It's been a great part. It's been a privilege to be a part of it. So thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hello, my name is Angela Castellanos. I'm a resident here in Kalamazoo. I moved here 2018 and left right when COVID hit. We moved out to Washington State, and my daughter and she's like, Mommy, I want to go back home. Where's home? Because we lived in Battle Creek for 16 years. She said, Kalamazoo is our home. So thank you for that song, because my heart is also in Kalamazoo. And I want to express my gratitude and just say thank you for the city for coming out and doing my my ceremony, my ribbon cutting ceremony for the new business that I opened up downtown, Unwind Massage and Stretch on North Church Street. And I just want to express my gratitude and thank you so much for coming and showing your support for me. And I'm here to show my support to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. So anyone else in the chambers wants to take advantage of the public comment period?
Hi, my name is Kim James, and I am a resident of Kalamazoo. I was born in Kalamazoo, moved away for a little bit, but decided to come back about 10 years ago. Today I am here to support my community and asking for some considerations from you guys. I'm also here with some worry and some frustration. As the Department of Homeland Security continues to unleash ICE in communities across the country, and in fact right here in our own backyard, I worry that Kalamazoo is unprepared or unwilling to support our Black, Brown, and Indigenous neighbors as they face what will inevitably become a more dangerous existence as we go. We need specific and explicit words and actions from you. I want this commission to loudly and unequivocally denounce 287G. I want law enforcement in Kalamazoo to immediately cease any cooperation with DHS. ICE agents are murdering people. DHS is kidnapping people. Another concern that I have after writing this and seeing what was on the agenda here is the acceptance of a 25 cops hiring program, and I would urge you to reject that. I think that is putting in your hands, if you accept this, Kalamazoo is agreeing to comply with information sharing with the federal immigration authorities. So you take this money, but you got to give a little bit of this. So that's another worry that I have. I want you guys to have a plan ready for how the city officials and the police are going to protect all of us when ICE comes, and it gets violent. Everybody's going to need protection. I'm frustrated because I've seen Kalamazoo fail its most marginalized citizens before. I've seen progress benefit some while costing others. I've seen it praise peaceful protest while refusing to recognize the US-funded genocide of the Palestinian people. I've seen housing being built with 2 to 3 subsidized units while hundreds of community members are without shelter. I see activists working tirelessly for our ever-increasing unhoused population, only to be dismissed by our mayor. I've seen fencing allowed to be put in place around the Arcadia Festival site months before any work could have been done, knowing very well that that area served as a place of shelter and resource distribution for our unhoused folks. When you're involved in planning and decision-making, I want you to ask yourselves 2 questions. The first one, who is the most marginalized in this situation? And the answer to that, if you're being honest with yourself, will be BIPOC women. The second question you should ask yourself is, am I centering BIPOC women? We need your help, and that's all I'm here to say. And
Thank you. Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Chad Dodd, and I'm a resident in the Northside community of Kalamazoo here downtown on Frank and Rose. So I'm not here for myself. I'm also here for my neighbors who probably couldn't make it, but they showed up to other city meetings before. And the main topic I'm here for is the park on Rose and Frank and Church. It's a pollution ground of drug activity and loitering and littering from people throwing trash into other people's neighborhoods. And at nighttime, I also see, cops doing their job, speeding up and down from the ecstasy line. So in my mindset, I'm like, I saw that in the daytime too, so I know it's children on the north side going towards the Westnish area in the east part of Frankish, children all up and down that street. So main thing a lot of my neighbors had a concern about was putting humps and also no parking signs out there. And the reason why I think you should also put no parking signs out there, because I caught a violation not too long ago. I was telling my neighbor I caught a violation. He laughed. I said, "Why are you laughing?" He said, "I got one too." But I said, "But I'm not looking at it as a bad thing. I looked at it as structure." So I got the ticket waived, but if we had more of those no parking after a certain hour signs up, because I didn't know you couldn't park out in front, and the reason why I had parked out in front of my house is because the person's truck who I was using broke down. But now that I know that you can't park at a certain time, that would also be a good thing of putting those signs back out there. And I think that would also stop the littering and people throwing trash in other neighbors around me in surrounding areas. So every time I cut my yard, that's right across the street from a city park, I have to pick up my neighbor's trash because it's also connected with mine. So I see liquor bottles, tons of stuff. So she came to a little city town meeting one time and spoke her piece, but I think I'd rather speak it for everybody in that area going up in Rose and Frank, especially for the children, because we have speeding constantly going down that main strip of Frank and Rose and Church. So if it was speed humps also put over in them areas, I think that would also save a lot of the officers times of, because I see it all times of the night. They have to speed after tons of cars. That strip doesn't have humps on it, so that's why you get away with not catching the purple you're supposed to catch. But that's why I came here, for the neighbors in my community. So the littering needs to stop, because everything in the city is starting to look beautiful. And I'm gonna let a lot of y'all know I'm really from Benton Harbor, Michigan, so I've been residing in y'all community, just studying everything. And it's more progress being done daily. And that's the best thing about this town, because very soon I see the future of this town growing more and more, with more entertainment, more people coming. So to keep that in that threshold where more people are talking about Kalamazoo, and I want to go to Kalamazoo, just like how my town, Benton Harbor, everybody knows Benton Harbor for entertainment and other things, but this town is always known for having good entertainment too. So to get that going, let's keep the city clean. Also, some of these areas, like I've been listening to a lot of people with children, that's more important than everything. That's why we are talking about Frank Road, as well as how everybody else has been talking about putting stop signs.
Thank you, Chad. Your time is up. Yeah, thank you.
Hi, my name is Shauna Espinoza, and as he was explaining, like all these things are going on the north side, but what are we doing about Alamo Hill? There's so many students that walk from Interfaith. They don't get a bus. They're crossing Patterson, they're walking up Patterson, they're crossing Douglas, they're walking up Douglas, they're crossing Alamo, they're walking up Alamo. Sometimes it's in the street. That sidewalk needs to be fixed. That sidewalk at times is not shoveled. So it's dark time in the morning, and guess what? Those students are walking in the street. I get it's a township thing, so maybe as a collective, it's something that you should talk to township about. It shouldn't always fall back on us. It shouldn't always fall back on those that live in Kalamazoo. Sometimes you need to be like, hey, we're as a collective, this is a different district, maybe we should have those conversations. Maybe some of us have more on our plate than others, but at the same time, this is a collective. We're doing the work as a community that some of this board that should be doing. That's something you guys should look into, because it's not okay that middle schoolers are walking in the dark on sidewalks that should be fixed, that should be safe. And on the way home as well. As he just said, people are speeding. As people deem, the north side is a bad side of town. So why isn't this something that is being fixed? Why? Because it's not a white neighborhood. Our black and brown children deserve the same respect, the same things as white neighborhoods do. If this was Winchell, it wouldn't be a problem. It would already be fixed. We have parents that can't make it here to speak. Why? Because they're working multiple jobs to take care of their children. They don't have ways here. There's too many barriers to get them here to speak. So us, as other citizens, speak on their behalf. They don't have the right to be here because they're taking care of their children or working multiple jobs. So please, fix that sidewalk in that street. It's bad enough they don't get a bus. Can you imagine walking from Interfaith to Hillside, being a middle schooler in the dark in the morning with shitty ass sidewalks? I'm just gonna put it out there. It's facts. If we can't keep our children safe to walk to school on sidewalks, we know damn sure ain't nobody gonna be safe when ICE come. As a whole, we need to start keeping our communities safe, no matter if they're brown, black, white, indigenous, adults, kids, no matter what they are. This is your job. This is your job. You signed up to do this. Protect your community. I didn't want to come today because I have other things that I could be doing. But I know, looking at my son and my grandson and my girls, I need to speak and continue to come here because that's important. Standing up for those that don't have that voice or those that can't make it here. You as a commission need to work hand in hand with each other, the community, and other boards that serve this Kalamazoo County. It's just out of respect and doing what is right. Because if this was somebody that you loved or you cared about or yourself, it would have been fixed, especially in Tina's situation. That'd have been fixed. These kids wouldn't have to walk in the street on a raggedy sidewalk. Do better.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening. My name is Jonathan Yarbrough, representing the Northside neighborhood. I just have a couple announcements. First, before I share, I just wanted to lift up Northside Day is going to be happening August 8th, 2026. That day consists of a 5K walker run, so please sign up for that. That's going to be a great event, and that's going to be in the morning. We have a community celebration at LaCrone Park, so if we have any community organizations that are watching online or that are in this room, please feel free to go on our website to sign up for that as well. And then we'll have a more Beats on Northside Alley at the NACD building that evening time. So again, Northside Day is August 8th, and we have a jam-packed day that day. I also feel comfortable enough to just share with everyone just some of the initiatives that NACD is preparing in the coming years. One thing is the Northside Home Ownership Fund initiative. And so this has been planning since I literally stepped into in my tenure 8 months ago. And been meeting with various organizations and other community funders in the community, and this is to simply help those Northside residents that are in rise in property taxes on the north side of Kalamazoo. We know this event center is coming, and so that's one of the things that is going to cause, especially for our Northside residents, and specifically, we're going to try to dive or kind of go in different ways within that fund to meet the need in other areas outside of just the rise in property taxes. So more to come with that. We've been meeting for the last 6 to 7 months with just a small private group of individuals. Right now we're going to go into the canvassing stages of this project, which we will go into canvassing on Northside residents this summer, so we can get their input, make sure that their voices are feeling heard, and kind of get their wants and needs met for this fund. So again, that's the Northside Home Ownership Fund that we've been working on for the last 6 to 7 months, and I really would love the city's support with that. And if you would like to get involved with that, please just email me, regarding that. So. Just along with other things, as I'm hearing, and I'm working graciously with our CPED team, with the city of Kalamazoo, with just some of the issues that some of our friends are bringing up to light. So it's important that I think hopefully you guys are incorporate this in the summer. We maybe put in more of these island pauses in the streets, so that way the residents are feeling safe when they're crossing. I like those, I really truly do. Particularly I love the island where it's more so you can just pause, you can stop, and then you can go onto the other side of the roads or the other side of the street. So just something to kind of incorporate when you guys are planning this summer, because I know it's going to be a lot of projects happening this summer. I think that is it. If you need any more additional information, please feel free to email me, or you can go on our website. But we're still looking for sponsors for Northside Day, so if you are willing to sponsor, please do so. It's important that we invest in this because, again, at the end of the day, this is a fundraiser, and I'm challenging all Northside residents, if you are watching online too, to donate a one-time $100 donation to the Northside or NACD. It'll go directly towards workforce development, housing, and of course the beautification projects that we have planned. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, please.
Hi, I'm Claire. I live in the Vine. I'm not super well prepared today, so I'm sorry. But I wanted to come up and advocate for a moratorium on City Ordinances 3324, which deals with city parks and public places, specifically A, B, E, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S within that policy. So the types of things that are criminalized under that set of policies are things like using public outlets, entry in parks during nighttime hours. I think parking is in there, which somebody mentioned earlier. One is like no resting in elevated spaces. So just really specific things that unfairly target our unhoused neighbors. And so we need to put a moratorium on those policies until we can, A, provide like alternatives to those things, and then B, so like somebody mentioned, like those things aren't even really properly like signified. There's no signs on the outlets that say you can't use them. I would just assume that we could use them, and then end up you get a ticket, and then that ticket can turn into like a million other different things that make people's lives more difficult, and it's unfair to have those policies while there's no alternative in place. So until we can, for instance, provide a public restroom, I think the one that we have is currently locked and closed down, and so where are people gonna go? And I think that we need to not be, you know, for a city that says that we're inclusive and we're not criminalizing houselessness, but we functionally are. Like, these ordinances do that. These are behaviors that are normative in the context of houselessness, and we shouldn't be criminalizing those behaviors, especially when we're not prioritizing building those alternatives and also like marking it so that people know what they can and cannot do. So that is what I'm here to say. Thank you for those of you that met and gave some feedback with that. The idea of putting a moratorium on those policies, I heard that we have a policy review board that's happening. That's really great. And I think that in the context that that's gonna take 2 years to get through those policies, I think we really need to prioritize this right now. Everything's important, but this is really important, and it's unfair that people are being targeted in this way. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you. Next, please.
Good evening. My name's Justin Suarez. I live on the north side. There's some things that were brought up today. The park at Frank and Park Street, my kids go down there to play, and there's always people smoking dope in the enclosure over there, right out in the open. It would be nice to see that park patrolled a little bit. When it gets warm, bad stuff happens there. The kids are playing in the playground, but in the pavilion there's drug use and drinking, and it's a bad vibe over there. So there's a lot of kids that go over there. It's a busy neighborhood, like that gentleman had mentioned. It would be nice to see maybe some patrols during the summer, because that park's out of control. The other thing, the main reason I wanted to come up here and speak is the flock cameras and ICE and everything going on in our world right now. The flock cameras are increasingly worrisome to me. When I drive by them and I see them, I wonder, you know, at some point is the city's police department or somebody, you know, who knows, somebody in the city that maybe is pro-ICE, you know, we might not know about, just decides, you know, I'm gonna start sharing information with them. I don't know how safe it is, but I know other cities across the country are starting to suspend their contracts with ICE temporarily. It might be something nice that we could do here until, you know, we don't, like, they're building concentration camps right now. Why? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like, it's not adding up, and it's becoming more and more worrisome. And as a resident of the city, I shouldn't have to worry just driving to work, or, you know, oh great, now they know I'm at work. You know, now there's no adult at the house. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's concerning, and like I really hope that the city considers maybe putting a pause on those services until, I mean, you know, it's not going to actually prevent crime. It might help solve some crime, but it's not going to prevent crime. And the only thing right now, my worries, is how it could be used against us. Because it's not just reading license plates. It's all adding things up and putting it into a database. And with the government's overreach right now, it's pretty scary. So I just wanted to come and throw that out there. I think you guys could consider maybe a temporary pause on using those. So thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the chambers that would like to take advantage of the public comment opportunity?
Good evening, Jeff Messer, city resident. The city manager failed on the communications part of the agenda tonight. Maybe he'll remind you later on reports and legislation part of the agenda. But the city commission is holding its annual budget retreat 2 Saturdays from today. On Saturday, March 14th, 8:30 a.m. at the Foundry. That's downtown Kalamazoo on 600 East Michigan Avenue. That's been canceled.
It's not at the Foundry.
What? Oh, the location has been changed. It's not at the Foundry. Okay. Is it the same date? Okay, so I guess you'll have to check the city's calendar, but I guess still Saturday, March 14th, 8:30 a.m. at a location I'll have to look up, and you'll have to look up too. But many of you are unable to attend these meetings on the first and third Mondays at 7 or 8 p.m. So this is one opportunity if you do want to address the commission in public or live until Commissioner Slaby and Vice Mayor Duncan get the commission to reestablish the phone-in comments. So again, Saturday, March 14th at a location that I guess now the city manager will probably mention later in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else in the chambers who'd like to take advantage of the public comment period? All right, thank you so much to everyone that took the time and made the effort to come here and provide us with public comments. I appreciate it very much. We are now down to our consent agenda. Manager Hankins.
Thank you, Mayor. The following items are submitted for approval. G1, approval of a sole source professional service agreement with Main and Meridian LLC, former City of Kalamazoo employee Jeff Chamberlain for consulting services not to exceed $49,000. 2, approval of a professional services agreement with Preen and Newhoff for E. coli sampling and site assessment to support MS4, total daily maximum load monitoring in the amount of $102,500. 3, approval of a contract supplemental and change order with Safe Built for mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and building inspections in the amount of $110,000. 4, approval of a contract supplemental and change order for analytical testing services with Trace Analytical Laboratories, Incorporated, in the amount of $115,480.32. 5, approval of a contract supplemental and change order with Mall City Mechanical and Plumbing and Fire Suppression on the 150 East Crosstown Facility Renovation Project in the amount of $122,516. 6, approval of a cooperative contract with Design to Wellness for fitness equipment and installation for the 150 East Crosstown Facility Renovation Project in the amount of $140,503.61. 7, approval of a professional service agreement with Whiteman for building 20 old tertiary renovation in the amount of $157,670. 8, approval of a cooperative contract with Rathco Supply, Inc. for sign installation in the amount of $268,282.50. 9, approval of a contract with Millman and Pension Administration Software System in an amount not to exceed $312,000. 10, approval of a contract with Next Gen Construction for erosion repairs at Water Station 24 in the amount of $335,943.90. 11, approval of a contract with James E. Fulton and Sons for the construction of downtown placemaking projects in the amount of $426,000. 12, adoption of a resolution designating the polling facility to be used for Precinct 10 during the election on May 5th, 2026, and for each election thereafter. 13, adoption of a resolution setting forth the salaries of the City Commission appointees, City Attorney, City Clerk, and the Internal Auditor, effective March 2nd, 2026. 14, approval of a temporary property right of entry agreement with Milbarker and Sons, Inc. to install a new sound wall on US 131 adjacent to city-owned properties. 15, approval of the minutes from the City Commission meeting on February 16, 2026.
And that is it, yes. Number 15. Thank you, Manager Hankins. Commissioners, the requested action is a motion to approve items 1 through 15 and authorize City Manager Hankins to sign all related documents on behalf of the city. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Hoffman.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Slaby. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Yes.
Commissioner Slaby.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Yes.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. Items on the consent agenda are approved. Now we're at the regular agenda. City Manager Hankins.
Thank you, Mayor. Item H1, approval of a contract with Whiteman for the design of West Michigan South and Lovell Street in the amount of $3 million funded through the RAISE 2022 planning grant.
Thank you so much, Manager Hankins. Is there a report on this item?
There's actually a presentation from staff. I have Dennis Randolph, the Public Works Division Manager, for a brief presentation.
Welcome, Dennis Randolph.
I want to talk a little bit about our program, our continuing program to make streets in Kalamazoo safe. We have a couple components. One has been kind of the everyday implementation of lots of signs and devices around the city, kind of an ongoing improvement process. The other has been to change the nature of some of our streets. And to that end, we've gotten a number of federal grants to pay for the design, engineering, and also construction over the next 5 or 6 years. It's a long process. What we have before you right now is a design contract for a major component of that work. It's for the intersection of West Michigan Stadium Drive Lovell. It is a major intersection in the city. It's right in the center of a number of other projects that we have going, our Protect project, our two-way conversion projects. You can see from the map, it's the blue segments that you see on the map, along with work on South and Lovell Street, where we'll be looking at potentially converting them also from one-ways to two-way streets. This project would do all of the engineering, starting with surveying and then preliminary designs, NEPA processing, just all the steps, and I'll talk about those in a minute. To put this project in context with all the rest of the projects we have, you see this map that we prepared, and it has the projects we've gotten from our BIL grants, or bipartisan infrastructure law grants over the past few years. They're all hooked together. Without one of them, the other parts of the projects don't really work as good as we hope they will. This is a comprehensive plan of conversions that will really change the downtown area and a lot of the adjacent areas in the city, moderate traffic, we hope, slow a lot of folks down, make it a little more convenient for people who want to patronize our businesses and to attend other activities downtown. This project is funded from our Raise 2022 grant, which is basically $12 million of federal funds for design, and we're using them on Michigan Avenue already, and the other streets are incorporated in this particular project. There's about $300,000 of FFA money we use to match. It's a minor amount of that, but there is some other funds in this project. We're running this project through the Michigan Department of Transportation local agency program. That means we follow MDOT rules in procurement and how we do the work. They also evaluate the work as we go along and complete it. So it's not done in isolation, at least from the Highway Department and the Federal Highway Administration's concern. To select a consultant, and it's Whiteman Associates, we went through a QBS, or quality-based selection process. That's a process that's generally recommended and accepted for the selection of professional services. And that process is a strict process. We go through several steps to determine who's best qualified before we start looking at the funds and what it's going to cost. I think to put this project in context, which I think is really important because it's going to be, when we construct, a major bit of disruption for the community, but also when it's going to be changing how traffic flows through that part of town. And it's a major connection between our educational institutions, Kalamazoo College and Western Michigan, and also the downtown area itself. The streets we're dealing with, and all these streets that we're working on, I showed you a minute ago, are real high activity pedestrian environment. And again, what we're trying to do is encourage more direct connection between K College, Western Michigan, all the other neighborhoods on the west side of town, to be able to walk downtown, to be able to travel safely. And right now, they really can't, frankly. It's not a good situation. We anticipate on modifying or changing signals. Some of the designs we're looking at may not have signals in them, but that hasn't been determined at this point. That's the first step of our project will be to lay out a number of alternatives and then start gathering input from the community to determine which alternative works best for everybody. It is part of our Complete Streets program. Again, it has some real meaningful safety things that we intend to do, slowing traffic down, making drivers feel they have to obey the laws, and that's the problem on a lot of our streets right now. When you have wide streets, people don't feel they have to obey our speed limits, and they don't. And so that's a safety-first design approach that we'll be using out there. And of course, we'll be following other federal requirements that have been around for a number of years, they aren't new, on equity and injury reduction. There is a lot of benefit to injury reduction, and I just wanted to tell you where things have been so far. You probably saw the press release earlier or over the weekend about crash reductions in the city. Because of the many steps we've taken over the last 5 or 6 years, from stop signs to back plates to all types of radar signs, lots of devices we've been putting in, we've been able to reduce about 1,700 crashes from happening, or keep 1,700 crashes from happening in the city. Before we started this program, the city averaged about 3,100 crashes a year. So what we've been able to do in the last 5 years is eliminate over a half a year of crashes around the city. There's a cost to that, and it's not cost necessarily that we see in our budget. We do save money when police don't have to go out on a run, or the fire department has to go out on a run, or when people don't knock down our devices and have to repair them. But people don't have to pay to repair their damaged cars, to pay hospital bills, to pay for the time that they lose from work taking care of the problems they've had from a crash. That money comes back, or it stays in pockets of the residents of the community, which is the real nice part about what we're doing. Before we stopping crashes before they happen helps everybody directly, and it saves everybody money. And what our studies have been showing is that for these federal projects that I showed you at the beginning, we've generally been having at least a 2-to-1, in some cases a 3-to-1, or close to 4-to-1 benefit cost on these projects. They've been very well based in safety and in savings for folks. There are always some risks with every project, and I just wanted to mention them to you. As part of this project, we're right in the middle of our Protect grant project, which involves flooding in the Arcadia Creek side of town. And I just wanted to mention, we also are starting work with the Corps of Engineers on a project on the east side of town for the Portage Creek area. So we are addressing major flooding problems across the city, but this particular project sits right in the middle of our Protect grant. We have to worry about floodplain, and if we have to change the floodplain around, and we will. We've been improving, limiting the floodplain, taking people out of the flood insurance requirements that they have as much as possible. We're working with the state, we're working with Amtrak and MDOT Rail to take care of train concerns that we have. There are also some federal just compliance risks that we do have to worry about. NEPA, SHPO, which are the things that look at the environment and the historic aspects of the community. We have to make sure that we aren't doing damage to those items, and in fact trying to help them. They've been neglected for a number of years, and these projects are generally going to help protect historic areas in the neighborhood and protect the environment, including the Arcadia Creek and ultimately the Kalamazoo River. MDOT does provide oversight on these projects. Everything we do has to be cleared by MDOT. They run it through multiple layers at the Highway Department, including their auditors review all of our work and how we charge work and what it costs. And so, again, we're not doing this on ourselves. We're working with a large group of folks that are helping us. This project continues emphasis on safety. It connects the west side of the city to downtown, which is really important, I think. It supports economic development and placemaking. It integrates sustainability. We're following the Envision framework, which is a national guide for sustainable infrastructure. It advances our complete street policy, and it leverages federal dollars to help us make improvements. Again, we've gotten nearly $90 million of federal dollars to improve our street system, to convert one-way streets to two-way streets, to make them safer. And we also have very good benefit cost ratios on that money. So there are a lot of good things that can happen. The design will get us going on making a really poor intersection into something better for the future. Our general schedule has been, we took proposals and they were due in January, and we spent the month of February looking at the proposals. We had 7 proposals that we received, which is really good activity from the consulting community. They're interested in what we're doing, want to be part of it. 7 of our staff went through those proposals and evaluated against the criteria that we had outlined in our request for proposals, so everybody knew what we were looking for. There were score sheets for them to look at. Once we selected the most qualified consultant, we reviewed their cost proposal to make sure it was in line to what our engineers had estimated, and they have. One of the important steps that we're going to be taking is immediately to work on our NEPA targets, the Environmental Protection Act, and we hope to get going and have substantially been cleared for that work by June. And then we'll continue our design development through 2027. We're working right now to try to determine an exact construction schedule. And again, because it sits in the middle of our Protect grant, we have to coordinate with several projects that are going to happen along the Arcadia Creek with this job. Right now, work at this intersection will probably take place in late 2028 and 2029. That's subject to adjustment. We're working our schedules over right now. A key part of that work is knowing when our Kalamazoo project will start. We're waiting. We have a deadline of Friday to get that project going for bid at the state. Once we get that bid, we'll be able to pretty much put all of the rest of our schedule together over the next 5 years for everybody, and we'll be letting everybody know what that is. So, so what we're requesting is authorizing the city manager to be able to execute this particular professional service agreement. And again, subject to what MDOT local agency program requirements are. And that means we're going to be submitting, after tonight, all of the paperwork that showed how we selected the consultant, all the paperwork that we followed to make sure it met QBS requirements. And as long as that's clear, then we'll be able to authorize work to start on this design. So thank you.
Thank you, Dennis Randolph. Appreciate it. Commissioners, questions on the specific action to approve a contract with Whiteman for design? Commissioner Pradel.
Dennis, thanks for being here tonight. I had a question for you. I think it's visual slide number 2. Is there any way you could go back to that? There's a color coding on all those streets.
Sure.
Can you explain a little bit about what each of those?
This one right here? Mm-hmm. Yeah, what we tried to do was just show we have a half a dozen BIL grants, bipartisan infrastructure grants. So we tried to illustrate these. Kalamazoo and Michigan Avenue are light lines. You can't see them real good, but those are part of the design work that we've got going, but also another RAISE grant that we have to pay for construction. So we had another grant. The kind of the squiggly lines off on the right side, that is an FRA grant that we're currently working to try to get under contract. It will look at removing one of the railroad tracks downtown, eliminate 80% of the backups downtown for drivers on Kalamazoo and Michigan. So that's what that project is. The 3 colors you see on the left side are the Protect Grant. It's a long project. It starts at Michigan, goes all the way down to Oliver. It's intended to, again, help the floodplain, stop flooding on western Michigan property. It's shown with those colors because we're probably going to do that work in 3 pieces, just to try to minimize backups and problems for drivers, but also we have to fit this particular project that I'm talking about tonight into the middle of that one. So we aren't quite sure how we're going to stage those projects yet, and that's why you see them in different colors. The green lines are also part of this particular project. Again, those are basically conversion projects. They would be done, I think they aren't as significant in terms of the amount of construction or the cost, and that's why we're rolling it into this particular project.
For the design contract, it mentions that do not exceed $3 million in a scenario where, say, they come in and it's $2.5 million for all the design work, which, I mean, usually you probably have a pretty good estimate of knowing that we'll come close to 3, but let's say it comes significantly under budget. How does that work in a scenario where it ends up being less than anticipated? Would it be shifted to other design projects, or could it be shifted to other design projects, or is it restricted to?
Right now, it's basically right at that $3 million amount. If there is money left, it's a matter of if we have enough to do something different, but because we were given a fixed amount by the federal government, they'd have to approve on any changes. And we also would need enough to do something significant with the money. So what we'll try our best to do is spend all the grant money that we've gotten. And there are certain add-ons that we can do as part of a project, and we would look at doing things like that to spend all of it. I don't want to send any back to Washington.
Sure, absolutely. Keep it here. Then the last question I had for you as well is it's a contract with Whitman. If I'm not mistaken, I know you mentioned that there was a really thorough process with 7 individuals with city staff. If I'm not mistaken, Whitman is also the design firm that's working on some of our other design work downtown. Can you speak to a little bit about the value perhaps of having the same firm that's doing the design work on all these elements are connecting to downtown, and if that carried any weight in the ranking and ultimately just deciding on Whitman to move forward?
Yes. First, it didn't carry direct weight. Where it counted was in the actual responses to our RFP and how well they responded. And to be frank with you, they just were able to answer all of the items concisely and to the point. I think our biggest worry had been, are they overloaded with our work? And they've assured us they aren't, and I think just having been working with them now for the last 5 years, they have the staff and the capability to do it. But the whole point of QBS is basically to look at it without knowledge of that firm other than what they can show us as far as their people, how they want to approach the work, and how well they responded to the questions in our RFP. And they did a very good job on that. It's a lot like getting the grants. We had to do the same thing. We were successful because we were able to directly answer the questions the Federal Highway Administration put in their request for proposals. And I think I'm like carrying that along with how our consultants respond to us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Other questions on this item? Commissioners? All right, seeing none, thank you so much. Mr. Randolph, I appreciate it. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to comment on this item, item H1? If so, please come to the podium, give us your name, and whether you live in the city, you'll have 3 minutes for your comments. Seeing no one, commissioners, the recommended action is a motion to approve. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Slaby.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Hess. Discussion, Commission? Seeing none, Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Pradel?
Yes.
Commissioner Slaby?
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan?
Yes.
Mayor Anderson?
Yes.
Commissioner Hess?
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Next on the agenda is item H2. City Manager Hankins.
Thank you, Mayor. Item H2 is adoption of a resolution establishing the B-NEZ district at the southwest corner of South Burdick Street and Vine Street.
Thank you so much. Is there a staff report on this item?
There is not, but we do have staff present if there are questions.
All right, thank you so much. So commissioners, questions on this particular item? I know this is a topic we have talked about before. It's not a brand new topic for us relative to the location that's identified and the NEZ. So I guess we're comfortable with the information at this point. No questions. Is there anyone in the audience who would like to comment on this item? It's item H2. It's adoption of a resolution establishing the B-NEZ district at the southwest corner of South Burdick Street and Vine Street.
Good evening, Jeff Messer, city resident. Looks like Chris Glasser has left. If he was still here, he probably would have asked the same question he asked a month ago, was if the city commission was to deny this property tax abatement, how would it impact the project? Would it be able to go forward? The basic question on all these tax abatements is developers ask for them because they're available, I guess, and they have a responsibility to their investors to ask for them. But if the city commission was to deny them, would that cancel the project or whatever? So and on behalf of Chris Glasser, please let us know how it would impact this project if the commission was to deny this 15-year, 50% tax abatement. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who would like to make a comment on this particular item, H2? Seeing no one, commissioners, the recommended action is a motion to approve. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Commissioner Hess.
Support.
Supported by Commissioner Wilson. Discussion, Commission. Seeing no discussion at this point, I will say, I appreciate the question. For the commissioners themselves, relative to the development pro forma, the capital requirements to build something, that is not something that we necessarily individually evaluate on any given project, not necessarily having the expertise on it, but I would say that it is the case that we have city staff that look at all these projects and make the recommendations to us. And part of that in any given project is from time to time contracting with even outside assistance. I believe Plant Moran we have a contract with that looks at some of these performers. Manager Hankins, you want to say anything more about that? Or?
Yes, Mayor, you're correct. We do evaluate them. It's a but-for type test. And so this is not it's a given. So there is an evaluation process.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. That said, then, no more discussion, I guess. Yeah, Commissioner Pradel.
Sure. I'm going to abstain from this one. I just out of an abundance of caution. Jamari Bogan, who owns Bogan Development, is on my board of directors for my the nonprofit that I lead, so I'll be abstaining from the vote.
Okay.
I just wanted to explain why I'm doing that.
Thank you so much. Clerk Borling, please call the roll. Oh, I'm sorry. Vice Mayor Duncan. That's what this project is.
I have to abstain from this vote.
Do you want to say anything more or just leave it?
Yeah, he donated to my campaign, and I want to be above board.
Okay. Clerk Borling, please call the roll.
Commissioner Slaby.
Yes.
Commissioner Wilson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Duncan.
Abstain.
Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Commissioner Hess.
Yes.
Commissioner Hoffman.
Yes.
Commissioner Pradel.
Abstain.
Thank you, Commissioners. The motion passes. Next, reports and legislation. Manager Hankins.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few items for this evening. The Howard Street MDOT project, which we've heard some conversation on tonight at Maple and Howard. Since our last commission meeting, staff have been working to coordinate conversations with community members. There's a meeting scheduled, planned, God willing, tomorrow with leaders in the Oakland Drive and Winchell neighborhood and the Vine neighborhood. So from that meeting, we hope to have a coordinated plan for engaging the broader community on the topic. So I wanted to make sure that that was made aware to the public. Our Imagine Kalamazoo Design It phase continues. We've had 10 meetings thus far. We have 3 left in March 4th, 10th, and 12th. Had a good conversation and dialogue at the Northside meeting last, I believe, this past week. And so this is an opportunity again for the public to weigh in on their thoughts on housing, streets, parks, transportation, and overall priorities in their community for the foreseeable future. Finally, just a point of clarification, since it was raised partly, but our annual City Commission, your annual City Commission retreat is scheduled for March 14th, which is Saturday, 8:30 a.m. to 3 p.m. The location, which you all are aware, is KRISA at the Career Connect Center campus, 3500 Van Ryck Drive in Kalamazoo. So just a point of clarification to make sure that everyone was clear on that point. One last thing I'll mention is our leaf pickup in all 3 zones across the city is complete. Public Works crews are now addressing any missed pickups and will continue to do so as the weather warms. Crews are automatically going through these areas in all zones for missed pickups, so there's no need for residents to place a call for any misses. But if there are questions, folks can call 311 to get information. That's it.
Thank you, Manager Hankins. We are now to the point of our agenda for commissioner comments. Anyone like to make comments this evening? Commissioner Slavey.
Thank you, Mayor. I look forward to the Commissioner Retreat on the 14th. I just wanted to reiterate that I won't be in attendance of our City Commission meeting on the 16th. I will be representing the city at the National League of Cities Conference in DC. So excited to be there for the week and to be part of one of their constituency groups. So excited to report back. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Other comments, commissioners? Anyone? Commissioner Hess.
Sure. Thank you, Mayor. On Saturday, I was really blessed to be able to provide a proclamation for Trenches Church here in Kalamazoo, who celebrated their 15th anniversary, and it was really a wonderful event. They actually are a church that brings people in, but they send people out, and they do a lot of really great work, both in our community and as they travel internationally. It's really wonderful, and I'm grateful to them for the work they do, and Pastor James Harris for leading that congregation. I send prayers out to the Portage firefighter and his son who were injured in the accident at Douglas and North Street last week. And unfortunately, you know, as it came out that crashes in Kalamazoo are decreasing, which is wonderful news, and I'm grateful to Dennis and his team and everybody working on the traffic in this in Kalamazoo and decreasing the numbers. But 3 major crashes happened to kind of upend that kind of news, but unfortunately this one hit home with a Portage firefighter and his son. So I'm just letting them know that praying for them. We have work to do on the drivers in this town and making sure, as we've well heard from our commenters, that pedestrians, bicyclists, and folks that aren't in a car are also valuable. Also, I believe Mike Stout came up and talked about the environmental stewardship of the Kalamazoo River and the cleanup that's happening on March 28th. I believe there are a few flyers out here on the ledge by the agendas if you'd like to take that. Please join in and the fun, and the students that have done that have all volunteered from Western, NK, and KVCC to be able to clean up our river and the invasive species therein. So that's really exciting to me, and I'm happy to Mike. I'm grateful to Mike for his work on our river. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Hess. Commissioner Pradel?
Thank Thank you, Mayor. Had a chance this morning to attend, I think with quite a few commissioners and city staff, the Blueprint for Peace had a summit update. We had folks from our city staff team present and update the group. So Chief Boysen and Assistant Chief Jude were there to present about goal number 1. So there were 6 goals as part of Blueprint for Peace. And then Laura Lamb and then C. Mall from our team also presented on one of the goals as well. It's just really refreshing to see everybody coming together and talking about their piece to the puzzle, and just talking about how, this is an issue that we have to continue to keep our foot on the gas with, and not forget about, ever let up on. And it was really nice to see everybody focused on that North Star together as a city. I also saw City Manager Hankins was there as well. So I really appreciated having a really strong representation from the city there, and appreciate all the folks that are involved with that effort to work towards getting to zero in our community. I wanted to also just mention Ms. Foster-Wimberly, who's here and was involved in my academic career in middle school. My oldest son is going to be entering middle school next year, so that tells you the time that goes by. But I just wanted to just make sure to shout out, how much of a difference folks like you and people who are educators and mentors in the community, make on people's lives. And I always think very fondly of you and the time I spent at Hillside and in Kalamazoo Public Schools. But it's just kind of one of those blasts from the past things when you live in a city like this your whole life. Last meeting I saw Natasha Robinson, who was here with Isaac, and we went to school together, and is somebody that just continues to stay active and is just an amazing advocate and parent. And then Liz, who was here tonight, her son Jacob, I had a chance to mentor through Big Brothers Big Sisters about 20 years ago, and is just a tremendous young man. And now he's an old man, but he, it's exciting to see when you're doing this work. It's a great grounding and reminder of why you're here and you do this work. And so I want to thank you, and thank you for everybody who's been a part of my personal journey to help me get here. So just wanted to make sure to lift that up and say thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Duncan.
Just want to put it on the radar. We did open a new business on the Kalamazoo Mall, old school bar. Some of the feedback that I've heard from the business owners on that strip is in the after hours, us still charging on the meters is affecting their business. So I want to put that on the radar of my colleagues here. Several of the businesses there have spoke to maybe coming up with a solution. And that was not necessarily getting rid of the tolls there, but maybe a period of time in the evening where we're giving a pause so that people can more frequently shop and park, et cetera. So something to think about. Thank you for all that attended the Blueprint for Peace. My colleague, Ms. Hoffman, Commissioner Hoffman is not going to sing her own praises, but I will. She gave a speech to that room this morning that was just energizing, collectively regrounded us in the work that needs to happen to move the city forward and to bring down the violence. And I just want to sing your praises again. It was an amazing speech, and the work that you do is amazing. I also want to shout out Miss Tia, who was at my table today, but she did not tell me that she was a part of the Blueprint for Peace until it was time for her to present. And so I told her that her name is big in the community, so I'm going to shout her out again today. You big out here. We appreciate you. And on that topic, as we are leaving Black History Month, I want to thank the women of Delta Sigma Theta. Thank you for leading our community, leading our young ladies, stepping in the gap for those who need. As a fellow Greek, I understand what it means to, wear those letters and wear that pride and sense of service into your community. So thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for the work that you do. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Well, I'll just follow up on that. One thing that I'm continually reminded of, Vice Mayor, when we get an opportunity to go out, and whether we're visiting with businesses who care about the community, take time to make sure there's, I think that is supposed to be a phone-free zone there at Old School, which is part of the Old School, right? Actually getting back to that time when maybe people are looking at each other instead of their phones all the time. how can we help those folks? So I appreciate you bringing that up. And then what happens for me, I think, when we sit in these seats is that you get to see over and over again the total rich, overlapping community efforts that are happening in so many ways in Kalamazoo. Even being around as long as I have been doing this here, I'm still surprised when I run across something new that's going on that people are working on, putting their heart and soul into. And like has been mentioned this past weekend, I got to spend some time with the Delta Sigma Theta Soars, and what's the crew working on is economic development, right? That was what this whole gathering was about. I was kind of a second stringer there. I wish I'd had our economic development director, Bobby Boyd, but he was unable to attend, so I did the best job I could. And then over at Trenches, another amazing work that's happening there at Trenches. Thank you, Commissioner Hess, for going there and providing a proclamation from the city for that great work over and over again. And we're just mentioning, just a couple of a myriad of organizations that care a lot about this place. I do want to end it here just kind of talking about part of our team here, and I don't want to talk for a minute just about Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety, which I think we have a great Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety. And outside of three very, very important things that the Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety does, which is focus on public safety and fight fires, but the third leg of that is first responders. And that does not matter whether you are someone who's been involved in a shooting yourself or something that's desperate going on with you. Our public safety department is going to show up and do their darndest to provide immediate health care in the moment to try to help you through something you've been in. And so I just want to say thank you. That is not an easy job, and I think sometimes we forget that our public safety officers show up, not just to enforce, but are there to help in the most critical moments. But outside of that, we've got those three things that we expect of public safety. There's additional important work that Kalamazoo Department of Public Safety is very involved in. Been involved from the jump on the group violence intervention and our gun violence reduction efforts, right there, leading off number one, deep in that GVI work. We've got our community services team that was created particularly to address the needs of those who are in very challenging circumstances, don't have housing, that sort of thing. That team, public safety, but that's a different kind of work that happens in public safety. We have our victim support efforts that are happening. We have Pastors on Patrol, another amazing program that works out of public safety. But the one I want to particularly mention is our PALS program, which is the Police Athletic League, which we've had going for a few years here. And not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before, I went to an event that was organized by our own Johnny Berry, who organizes that Police Athletic League program, the PALS program. And the program he had pulled together, he had a very, very impressive panel, some local high school coaches and some college athletes who were either at Western, a Ball State, very important panel. Now the focus of this presentation, which I really wish we would do again to a little larger audience, was how to get recruited. You're hoping to go to school, and maybe what's going to help you is the fact that you're going to be recruited and be able to play some sport at that school. But it was that, but I would actually retitle this into how to succeed in life. Because if you're going to put all the work into doing what you have to do to work hard, to show up, to make connections, to get recruited, to play college sports, that's the same sort of strategy that you're going to use whether you're in sports or not. So I just want to say thank you, KDBS. Thank you, Johnny Berry in particular, that organized that, put a great panel together. And it's just such a great experience to be able to sit in an audience for something like that. Luckily, I didn't have to speak at all. I could sit in the back, and I could listen to young people provide what I would suggest is wisdom beyond their years. And perhaps the younger people there who were in high school or middle school maybe were more likely to listen to those individuals than they would be to listen to me. So it's a good message. Thank you to your team, Chief, for doing that work. Appreciate it, and please thank Johnny Berry for organizing that. Appreciate that very much. I love you, Kalamazoo. We're adjourned.